September 28th, 2017. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 136 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
A while back, you got a flyer from Hollywood Casino for, what did it say, old-fashioned popcorn popper?
Yeah, was it old-fashioned? It was either old-fashioned or traditional.
Okay, but it made it sound like it was a throwback
like
kind of a
throwback thing.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you know, so I'm expecting, a pan with
you
butter
thought
in
a
it.
fire pan. We thought maybe it was one of those cranked ones that you see,
Right,
that are
yeah.
kind of. So what did it turn out to be?
It turned out to be an air popper.
An air popper. Isn't that one thing that I suggested it might have been?
Yeah, but I mean, is that retro to you, an air popper?
Well, maybe
I mean,
not.
air hasn't been around that long, Mark.
It's definitely retro. I wouldn't call it old-fashioned.
Yeah.
When I hear old-fashioned, but come on, retro. It is retro, right?
Well,
That's late 70s. We're not that young.
What do people popcorn with now?
What do people popcorn with now? They throw the bag into the microwave is what they do.
Oh, microwave popcorn's the worst.
Well, I like microwave popcorn.
I mean, I
can't say
eat
so.
it. We eat it, but I don't think it's that great. I seriously, I like a good old fashioned with oil and popcorn in there. You know, we have one of those big old things like you see in the movie theater where you put the popcorn in and it heats up and then you dump it out. It pops out of the thing. We have one of those.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Those are good.
Someone gave it to us as a gift. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't use it every night because it's too much to set up. But on parties, we have a party or something, we get it out.
Sure, yeah. Do you have to make a huge batch every time you do
you
it?
Make a huge batch. You do make a pretty good batch.
Yeah, microwave, Mike. You need to get into the 20th century.
I inevitably burn it. I can't even work a microwave.
That is hard. I'll agree. Now, we've got two microwaves here, one upstairs, one downstairs.
Right. They're
the one
both
upstairs,
different.
Yeah, we can't get good popcorn out of the one upstairs.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, sometimes ours gives us good popcorn. Sometimes it doesn't. You have to really monitor it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sit there and, when you get, 7.8 pops in a 2-second interval or something, then you pull it out.
Yeah. That's
and if you miss that window, you're screwed.
And even when you do pull it out, there are a bunch of kernels left at the end.
You know what? I eat the popcorn, and then when the kernels are at the bottom, I put them back in the microwave.
Oh, really?
And repop
Can you
them.
get it? Does it work pretty well?
Yeah, about half of them will pop again.
All right, good. Well, once again, we want to welcome everybody to the gambling podcast that Dr. Mike and I do every couple weeks. All right.
Well, it's important to know these things. There's people out there wondering, what the hell was that popcorn popper?
Yeah,
about?
sure. That we got. If there was curious, so now it was an air popper.
Yeah,
Did you get it?
Air popper. I didn't get it.
You didn't go to get it.
I didn't go to get it. I don't need another.
Well, I'll tell you,
popper.
the poor quality of stuff that we've gotten from Hollywood, it probably would have been terrible.
You know what's funny? They give us. I've got so many flyers. I'm going to show you tonight when we're done. How many flyers I've got of upcoming things? It's like 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah.
And most of them, I'm like, I don't want to get that. It's going to be stupid.
Well, and like I've said in the past, once something comes up that you actually do want,
right,
it turns out to be so poor quality that you end up tossing it.
Right.
So.
Or there's a super huge line to get to the casino and you get frustrated and just turn around and leave.
Oh, has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, that's
I might have
happened.
been a passenger in the car when that happened. I'm trying to remember.
That was terrible.
All right. Well, let's move on. So when we first started hearing about skill-based gaming coming to casinos, we talked on the show about how wouldn't it be great if it was like a regular slot machine, but then when you got onto the bonus screen, it was like an old video game, like Space Invaders or Pac-Man or something like that, right? We thought that would be kind of nice. Well, Mark Meltzer over at Edge Vegas pointed us to an article at Mashable about a new skill-based Pac-Man game coming to casinos next year. It's called Pac-Man Battle Casino, and it's being developed by Gamblit Gaming. So it's not exactly, what we were thinking, where it's a slot machine. It's actually a competitive game.
Where you're playing Pac-Man against somebody else.
Against other people, up to 4 players.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a table that you all sit around, and you each have a Pac-Man out there. And you're not only eating all the pellets.
You're trying to eat your other competitor?
Yes. When you get a power pill, the ghosts turn blue, and you also get a little bit bigger, and you can chomp your competitors. So you can eat the other Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
In our so friendly world we live in now, you're actually able to destroy other people.
To eat other people or other Pac-Man is
you
probably
better rephrase that.
let's
eat
make
other
that
Pac-Man.
clear. skill-based gaming has turned out to, I don't want to say a bust, but it's been kind of slow getting into the casinos, and people just aren't playing them.
I kind of figured that would be the case anyway, because, I mean, when we're at the casino, how many under 30 people do you see versus over 60 people?
Sure.
Right. So, I mean, this group, this generation of people that are at the casino now are old, and they're not going to go in for skill-based gaming or any kind of gimmicky thing. You know, I mean, it's like my dad, you know, he kind of likes some of that.
Okay. I mean, your dad's quite a bit older, but as it turns out, it's not like millennials have been flocking to these skill-based games. And in fact, it's baby boomers and Gen Xers who have been playing, you know, it's still, you know, the same people.
Same people playing video games that there always were.
And so even though they're saying, oh, you know, get the millennials in, hey, I don't think so. I don't know that millennials are any more anxious to play Pac-Man than, say, baby boomers.
They don't know what Pac-Man is.
But I think this might be the first real success for skill-based gaming because everybody does know how to play Pac-Man. Right,
yeah,
you don't,
or you've seen it. Anyway.
You really don't. There's nothing to figure out other than you move your Pac-Man around and you try to eat pellets, and so I think this might be success. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see if that takes off.
Yeah. So next year they said 2018. So
I wonder how big the actual machine is.
It's about the size of like an air hockey machine.
Okay,
like that, a little bit smaller than that. I'm just
wondering how much floor space that takes up in a casino.
Oh, I see.
For the amount of action they're going to get on it.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
You know, it's kind of like craps, right? For instance, that's a pretty big table. It takes up a lot of room. 4 craps tables takes up a fair amount of room. You can get a lot of slot machines in that same space.
Yes.
So I wonder if this is something where, you know, they're going to make enough money at it that it'll be feasible for the casino. Not that people may not like it.
Sure.
It's just the casino, you know, they're thinking, God, we could put, 20 machines in that spot.
Sure. So. We'll see. I'm hoping that it takes off. I've always been a proponent of skill-based gaming, but they need to come up with something that's fun to play, and they really haven't up to this point. And maybe taking advantage of this franchise, they finally will.
Now, what about, I think we talked about this before, the possibility that somebody who's really good, let's say you're really skilled at Pac-Man. So you're just camped out on this machine, playing all the time, winning while other people are losing. Does that discourage some people? I mean, do they say, well, forget that, I'm never doing that again, because there's a ringer in there?
I mean, that's always a possibility, but that's what poker is.
Well, yeah.
Right? I mean, that you need losing players to keep poker alive.
Yeah.
And poker's still going. It's not what it once was because a lot of people have left the game.
Right. But
that's always an issue, sure.
In a short run, you can rely on luck. Even a bad poker player can come up to a table and catch cards.
Yes.
Right. Now, can somebody who's not very good at playing Pac-Man, can they come up and compete?
That's a good question because I don't know if there is any luck involved with this Pac-Man game.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything in the article. Maybe there will be. Maybe
now, if there's some luck involved, then I think it would keep more people there because every once in a while you'd get lucky.
Yeah. Suddenly something just appears right by your Pac-Man.
Right.
And so it's like, oh, I got it. Or you just happen to be there.
Right.
That's actually pretty smart if that's something that they incorporate. Now, this is actually based on a game that exists called Pac-Man Battle Royale.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Which has been in arcades where it is a competitive game. So maybe that was part of that game. I'm not familiar enough with it.
Well, in an arcade, though, you would be skill-based because people of equal skill playing. In a casino, you're going to get an older person and some, young person with better hand-eye coordination.
It's hard to say. Now, I think that would be smart. If you've ever played Mario Kart, one of the things that's nice, or some people don't like it, but for people who maybe aren't quite as good at Mario Kart as others, when you're towards the back of the pack, you get better power-ups than if you're in first place. So it helps, kind of even the field, gives you a handicap, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they'll have something like that.
Yeah, they probably need something like that. Yeah. Otherwise, seriously, it'd be like there'd be some guy just camped out of the machine who's really good. Nobody ever can.
Well, I mean, if there's some guy camped out, maybe nobody will even come up to it. I think this will be more like, hey, you've got 4 friends. Hey, look, let's go play Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Or even 3 friends. It doesn't have to be 4 altogether, but hey, let's go. As opposed to, hey, do you want to go play on that Pac-Man machine that guy's sitting at?
Well, even let's say you and I and a couple other people are going to go, I wouldn't play. Because I know you're way better at that than I am.
Well, okay. But
I mean, if you said it like, oh, Mike, put in $100.
Okay.
I'm like, no, because I have no chance to beat you.
All right. Well, maybe you and I going up to a table is maybe not a good example.
If it was strangers, I might be cocky enough to think, oh, I can beat them. They look kind of weird. Yeah. But I mean, I know you. And if it was my friends, I wouldn't want to play with you.
All right. Okay. Well,
Pac-Man.
I understood what you meant, but I'm glad you clarified it.
I had to clarify that.
Let's find out what the game. I think this is good news.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I think this is good news.
It's good because it's new.
It's good because it's new and old. Right? So it'll bring in the... Of course we know Pac-Man.
Right. Well, and the good thing, too, is it opens up a new genre of gambling, which is, always good. Even if it doesn't take off, it's still good.
Yeah, right.
Because it means people out there are thinking.
Yes,
There's still people
trying.
Using their head.
Yeah.
All right. Not a lot, but there are a few.
A few. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. On a recent episode of Due for a Win, the guys talked about a new table game being offered at the Tropicana in Atlantic City called 3-Card Draw Poker. Kyle and Craig talked about it a little bit, and I thought we'd talk about it in a little more detail. And I want to get your opinion after we kind of go through this, Mike, what you think of it.
Of this game?
Yeah, 3-Card Draw Poker. Very new game. It's like 3-Card Poker in that it uses a 52-card deck, and you're playing against the dealer. Not the other players at the table. You're playing against the dealer.
I like playing against the dealer.
And those familiar with 3-card poker, the hand rankings are the same as in a regular 3-card poker game. And we'll talk about those hand rankings in a second if you're not familiar with it. But before you get any cards, just like a typical table game, you have to make your bet. And in this case, it's an ante-bet.
Okay.
And you put it out there. There's also an optional side bet, as there always is on a game like this. And let's talk about the side bet first and kind of get it out of the way because it's very simple. It's called the first 3 bonus bet. And you will get paid if your first 3 cards are a pair or better.
So kind of like the top bet in a regular 3-card poker game where if you get a pair or better, you get
the
paid.
pair plus bet.
The pair plus bet.
Yes,
so it's basically the pair plus bet.
It's basically that, right? Okay. Exactly. And just to go through the hand rankings, the best hand that you can get is a straight flush, specifically the mini, they call it the mini royal, which is just ace, king, queen suited. Right. So that's the best hand. Then any other straight flush. Then below that, trips, 3 of a kind. Below that, a straight. And then a flush. That's always important to remember. A straight beats a flush in 3-card poker.
In 3-card poker. Right? Not in traditional poker, but in 3-card poker because...
Just the odds. That's the way that it works out, right? Yeah. Then a pair, and then just high card. So if you make this side bet, this first 3 bonus bet, you get a mini royal, it's 200 to 1. Straight flush is 50 to 1. 3 of a kind is 30 to 1. A straight is 6 to 1. A flush is 3 to 1. And a pair is even money. Okay, right. So that is paid regardless of how the rest of the hand gets paid out. It's just a separate bet. Right. So it's an optional bet. You don't have to make it.
Right.
All right. Now on to the mechanics of the actual game. You make an ante-bet, and then every player is dealt 3 cards, and the dealer is dealt 4 cards.
Oh, okay. So here's where we separate from 3-card poker.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you look at your 3 cards, and if you just fold, if you've got a really bad hand, you fold, you lose your ante-bet, game over for you. But if you decide you want to stay in, you have 2 options. You can stay pat with your 3 cards, or you can draw 1 card.
And not discard any, just draw
you discard.
Oh, I have to discard
You discard 1 and you get a replacement.
Okay, so I still only have 3.
Right.
Whereas the dealer has 4.
Yeah. Now, technically, you're seeing 4 cards, but the dealer sees all 4 at once.
Right.
And we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit too.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It is a big difference.
Huge difference.
Right. But anyway, so if you want to stay in, whether you're staying pat on the 3 or drawing, you make an additional bet. There's a single circle out there that says in to win /draw. It's just a single circle where you have to match your ante-bet. So whatever you have in the ante, you have to make the same amount bet in the in-to-win/draw area.
Basically doubling your bet.
Yeah. So if you had $10 in the ante, you'd have to put an additional $10 out there.
Okay. All right. I assume that the bonus bet was just a smaller limit or $1.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to make it the same. You could. A lot of times they'll let you just bet $1. Usually it's lower than the table minimum. But yeah, that can be any amount.
Okay.
So you make this additional bet. If you're standing pat, you just slip your cards under your bet. If you're drawing one, you actually kind of toss 1 card to the dealer. And then he or she will immediately give you a replacement card and kind of tuck it in front to keep it separate from the 2 cards that you've held on to.
Okay.
And the reason they do that is because the bonus bet gets paid at the end. And so if you drew to say a straight,
right,
the bonus bet doesn't win. So they don't want
counts on those first.
That's the way that they can tell whether you drew a card or not.
Right.
So, all right. So then after that, the dealer reveals his or her 4 cards, determines what the best 3-card poker hand is, and then you compare your hands.
Yeah. So before you go on, I'm going to guess that the strategy is obviously if you have a pair.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing else, you're always going to draw a card.
Yes.
You're always going to throw the other one away, hope to get trips.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that if you had 2 to a flush or 2 to a straight, you're probably going to just get rid of that hand. That would be my guess. That would be the simple basic strategy.
This is such a new game that the Wizard of Oz hasn't even come up with a strategy for it.
Okay.
But I would say if it's a flush draw, go ahead and draw it. You've already got 2 to a flush. I would say go ahead, especially if they're high cards. And maybe this is where basic strategy, once they actually run, the analysis of the game, especially if they're high cards. Like,
if they're suited and they're in order,
sure,
like you
something
have
like
ace
that.
And king of spades, then you're gonna draw. Right?
Yeah, or jack of 10 of spades, right? Because then you got an outside straight.
Right, that'd even be even better.
So I would say flush always, maybe a straight always if it's a outside straight draw.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, I agree. If you've got a pat hand, a pat 3-card hand, a straight or trips or something, you stay.
Right.
If you've got a pair, you stay and you draw one. And then whether you stay in to try to get a straight or a flush is another option. Or maybe you just have 2 high cards. Yeah. Maybe ace 10 offsuit is something you stay in.
Right.
I don't know. That you'd have to run an analysis of the game on.
I mean, it seems to me like the 4th card's not going to help you that much.
It's always a draw, sure. Yeah. Well, let's continue on. And then there are a couple of additional things here. So anyway, the dealer sets his or her hand and then compares it to yours. If you lose your ante bet and the additional bet, and it's over.
Right.
If you tie, it's a push. You don't win or lose. And if you beat the dealer, the ante pays even money and the additional bet pays even money.
Yeah.
And if you have a straight or better, you get paid an additional bonus. If you have a straight, you get even money. If you have 3 of a kind, you get 5 to 1. If you have a straight flush, you get 10 to 1. And if you have a mini royal, you get 20 to 1.
On just the
just on the additional bet.
The additional bet.
That's after you've been paid even money. Oh, and I should back up here.
Oh, after you've been paid even money.
After you've been paid even money, I should back up here. This bonus bet you get even if you lost the hand. Let's say you had a straight and the dealer had trips. Right. Well, you lose the hand, but you still get paid even money because a straight is even money on this bonus bet.
Right.
This is not going to happen very often. Of course, it is. Theoretically, it can happen, but to lose with a straight is pretty unusual, right? The dealer has to have trips or better.
Right.
So it's not going to happen very often. But just to be clear, this additional bet gets paid whether you win or lose. Right. So that's basically the game. Now, as we were talking, the dealer gets 4 cards. Now, how big of an advantage is that? Let's say you have 3 cards, you look down, and you've got a straight draw and a flush draw, but not a straight flush draw. So you've got to decide, all right, what am I going to go for? Am I going to go for the flush or am I going to go for the straight?
Which card are you going to throw away?
Which one are you going to throw away?
Dilemma,
right. Now, I believe, without going through the analysis, that the right thing to do would be to go for the flush. Because let's say
to make.
It's easier to make. Let's say you have 2 hearts there. Well, that means there are 11 hearts left in the deck for you to draw.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you've got 2 to a straight, let's say 2 to an outside straight, well, there are only 8 cards that help you. Right, the 4 on the top side of the straight and the 4 on the bottom side. So you'd go for the flush.
Right.
But let's say, you go for the flush and then you get the draw and it turns out that if you'd gone for the straight, you would have made a straight. So you're like, well, the dealer never has that dilemma because he or she has seen all 4 of those cards to begin with.
They don't have to decide what to throw away.
They don't have to yes.
The hardest thing to ever do in any poker game is to decide what to throw away.
Well, yes.
As far as I'm concerned.
When you're talking about games where you throw things away like Crazy Pineapple, things like that where you're actually getting rid of cards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Crazy Pineapple is a perfect example. I mean, it's always like, oh my God, I could go for this or I could go for that. What do I do?
Yeah. I mean, usually it's clear. Just like in this game, it's usually going to be clear. But every once in a while, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got a pair of aces.
Right.
But is that good enough in Crazy Pineapple? Maybe I should, get rid of one of the aces and go for the flush.
Right.
And
And the dealer never has to decide that because
yes.
they've already seen what their fourth card's going to be. So they know what one to throw away. There's never a dilemma.
That's right. So that's where the dealer kind of has the edge. So again, so new that there's no analysis yet. But what do you think of this game? I don't know how popular it's going to be, but to me, I think this would be a lot more fun than just regular 3-card poker.
I agree, if you're an advanced poker player.
Okay.
So you play a lot of poker, and to you, it's exciting, it's more fun. To somebody who doesn't play a lot of poker but knows what flushes and straights are and everything, it might be a little too much.
Too much, though. We're not talking about a lot of different hands, and we're not.
It's whether to throw something away. Or
I know, but we're not talking about poker, though. Poker skills kind of help,
right.
But the skills of betting and position everything that's not there, right?
That doesn't matter. But there are a lot of people who play 3-card poker because they just get 3 cards. Yeah. They don't have any decision to make other than to stay in or fold.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And so they know what a winning hand is. They know, trips is great, and they know that a pair of aces is going to win. The only decisions where it gets weird for a lot of people is, they have queen jack, do I stay, or king queen. But other than that, they don't have any decisions. Now, for you, what basic strategy is, and it's not a decision for you. It's automatic. But for most of those people, having to decide, should I draw for a straight?
But look how popular blackjack is. Where you do make a decision, right? I think people like making decisions. Now, you're talking about 3-card poker players as if they're slot players, where there really is no, you just pull the handle.
Right.
And I'm sure there are plenty of 3-card poker players that are like that. It's just you put the bet out and that's it.
In my mind, the majority of them are.
Maybe, I don't know. It's impossible.
They like to play the game. I mean, it's even easier than blackjack.
The 3-card poker, yes. Regular. Of course.
In a sense, it's way easier than blackjack.
Way easier.
So it's a table game with cards that you can go and play and basically not know very much.
Yeah, that's true.
Just you know what a 3 of a kind is. You know what a straight is. You know what a flush is. What else do you need to know?
All right. Well, so all we're saying is some people would like this and some might not.
Yeah.
But
it might be too hard for some people, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, okay, I guess
they might perceive it as being too hard.
I guess that's possible.
Just like they perceive craps as being too hard.
Well, yes. I don't know if the comparison's perfect, but I see what you're saying.
You know how many times we've heard that? Oh, I'd love to play craps. It seems like so much fun, but boy, it's complicated. I'm like, no, it's not.
If both games were offered, 3-card poker and 3-card draw poker, I would go to the 3-card draw poker.
I probably would too.
I think it would be more fun.
You and I would both. I'd like the
kind of like Pai Gow poker, where you're making a decision about
I like
how
to
you're
be tormented. You know that.
Sure, of course. Yeah. Why do I know that, Dr. Mike?
I like to be tormented, and this is the kind of game that would torment me.
Okay. All right. Well, look for this. At least it's at the Tropicana Atlantic City. It is a relatively new game. It's being offered by a company called Score Gaming. I hope that it spreads and kind of catches on. I'd like to see a new carnival table game kind of come into casinos.
So that's 2 new things.
Right. Pac-Man that will be coming next year that I imagine will show up at a lot of places. That's my guess. And then 3-card draw poker that I hope shows up at places.
Well, you're going to have to title this episode, "What the hell's up with all this new stuff?"
All right. I'll think about that. I don't know if that'll do real good for search engines or what, but we'll see.
Yeah, just don't put nude stuff. New stuff.
Nude stuff. That's
nude
right.
Stuff. You get a lot of searches.
The new you can bet on that. It's nude stuff. Mike must have seen a bunch of nude people again. It wouldn't bat an eye. No. Oh, yeah, nude in the title? Yeah, I've listened to enough shows to know that, it's just Dr. Mike seeing nakedness. All right, let's move on to our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is our friend Al from Ontario.
Hi, guys. How's everybody at the number one podcast site on the internet today? It's Big Al from Canada. Just checking in. I think I left you a little voicemail there a couple of weeks ago, and you were inquiring about Laughlin. Yeah, I've been to Laughlin. Well, probably I've been to just about every area that you can gamble at in the continental United States and Canada. But I had been at Laughlin, but quite a few years ago. To be quite frank, I wasn't overly impressed with it. Just didn't feel comfortable there. Couldn't get a good hotel. We'd ended up staying in some Motel 6 across the river there. But the gambling was okay, but it's not worth the 2-hour drive or whatever it is from Vegas to get there. There's a lot better places around Vegas. But anyhow, we're just going to run by you a few things. I know you guys are a big-time craps player and have lots of different stories, and I've got an interesting story going back a few years ago when the Imperial Palace was in operation. I was playing some craps there, and, I'd say a very nice lady. She looked like she was going to a business convention. She had a business suit on. She was dressed up quite nicely and quite an attractive lady. She came up to the table and started playing beside me. I was doing quite well, making some good money, and she wasn't doing too well. And she looked over at me and she said, how come you're doing so good, and what are you doing that I'm not doing? And I said, well, you got to make the right kind of bets. So she said, well, what do I do? So I started explaining to her, some of the best bets to make. So she ended up doing that and started making some money, and everything was going good. And then she went to put a bet, a $25 bet on, I forget, one of the sucker bets anyway. And I just mentioned, oh, no, don't play that one. And unfortunately, the pit boss was there at the time, and he saw that, and he came over to me and said that if you give any more advice to any of our patrons, you will be forcefully removed from the casino. So unfortunately, I backed off, and the game continued on, and the lady kept saying, well, what do I do now? What do I do now? And, I said, sorry, I can't talk to you. So that was an interesting story. And thanks again for your doing a great job you're doing. And I am a senior, but I do have a little bit of money in my PayPal account, and I took the liberty of sending you a small donation over there to help your cause. Maybe we'll buy a round of drinks for you guys or something like that. And wish you all the best, and talk to you later. Bye for now.
Good. Thanks, Al. Yeah, thanks
Al.
for the donation. Unbelievable.
No, it's not unbelievable. As he's saying this, I'm thinking, Al, this is Imperial Palace, the biggest hole ever to be built in Vegas. I
Really?
am not kidding. The biggest hole. Oh God, I hated Imperial Palace.
Well, it's okay. I'll grant you that. I stayed there once. We did have some good times there. There's no question we had some good times there.
But that place, oh my God, I hated that place.
Seriously though, are casinos thinking?
Yeah, we'll kick you out.
We'll kick you out if you give advice to sucker players, basically, right?
Yeah, Al should have said, well, thank you for the compliment. I'm such a good player. I can actually beat the casino.
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. Yeah. That's the kind of thing where we would certainly not go back to a casino.
No.
I mean, it's one thing to maybe have a grumpy crew.
You know exactly what I would say to that guy as I'm walking out.
Wow. Well,
before we go on, I got to say, though, Al's from Canada.
Yeah.
And I love it when they say again.
Again? Yeah. And a boot?
And a boot. But my wife watches a show out of Canada, a television show, and it takes place in Nova Scotia. The show's pretty good. I like it. It's, one of these detective shows.
It's a detective show, yeah.
But I love that when they say again. I don't know what it is. It just sounds so right.
Yeah.
We're going to change that in the United
fancy.
States. Yeah.
Oh, that'll happen. Yeah, just like the metric system.
Right, exactly.
All right. Let's hear from Brent.
Hey, this is Brent from Georgia. I'm an economics professor in Georgia, and I'm actually teaching a class entirely on gambling in spring. It's titled The Economics and Statistics of Casino Gambling. So I was curious, I don't know what to do with this class. I'm curious to see what you guys think I should include. What would you like to have in a college class on gambling? And I also want to give you the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you guys come down and teach in my class, I will give you one free well drink a day. So I look forward to seeing you in the spring.
A day.
You know, good work.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'll tell you.
I was going when he said one free well drink, and then when he added a day, we got to buy tickets.
I don't know if you want us to stand in front of a class and teach people. If you knew how much editing I have to do on this show
for me alone
to make us at least sound comprehensible. If we were in front of a class, or
the students would all just think, they're gamblers, idiots, those idiots.
So what should you have in your class? Have you thought about this? I sent you this call so you could kind of think about it. I wrote down some things here.
Yeah, well, I like your second thought here, psychology of gambling. That would be my first thing.
Even in kind of an economics and
an economics class. Because in order to understand the economics of it, you've got to understand the psychology
of what gamblers will do, what players will do.
Right, what players will do and what they're thinking. And I'm sure a casino, when they or anyone developing a game is got to know the psychology of a gambler right off the bat.
That's true. And one of the things I put down here is house edge, and just kind of talking about psychology here. A bet that has a high house edge has to have some kind of appeal, some kind of psychological appeal, like a huge payoff, like a lot of them do, these side bets or jackpots.
Sure.
So
a fire bet's a perfect example.
Yes, exactly.
For us. I mean, it's such a huge payout that psychologically you're thinking, oh, if I could just hit that. Oh, gosh, if we could just hit that tonight. And we know it's a terrible house edge.
It's one of the worst bets in the casino as far as house edge goes.
But we'll make it because, we're thinking, well, if it does come up, I don't want to be left out.
It's fun.
Right. You don't want to be left out is the thing. The last thing in the world you want to be is the guy that didn't make the fire bet when it hit.
I understand. Right? Although I keep telling you, it's so great to have not made the bet when it doesn't hit. And that's almost every time.
Yeah, that's almost every time. But do you every time say to yourself, oh, God, I'm glad I didn't make the fire bet, it didn't hit?
Well, I will now. I'm going to think about it when we go this weekend. But, I'm going to turn to you every time. No, of course I know what you're talking about.
You never think that.
No.
But, when it does hit, you're like, oh, yes, I was the one. I had the full amount on there,
Talk about that house edge. So obviously you want to talk about the house edge on the different games and how they're determined, the math behind it.
For economics, you should know the math behind how everything's determined and how the casino actually makes money and how poor it is for the player.
Right. I also put down here comps and marketing. I think that might be an interesting thing to talk about.
Especially from an economic standpoint, because there are situations where you can get comps that actually offset your losses so that you can make a negative EV game a positive EV game in some cases. I'm not saying that happens all the time. And it's certainly not going to happen to all players because the comps that people get are different. But if some player is able to get enough comps, they can turn a bad game into a decent game.
And on the flip side, from the casino's standpoint, they are giving away comps and other things in anticipation of making more money from players. So it's actually an investment from them.
Right. They're thinking if I put out a little bit, that'll draw this guy in here and he'll lose way more than we ever gave him and we're going to make money.
And getting back to what you were talking about, I think it would be good in a class to talk about advantage players and how they do make money at a casino, what they do, card counting, hole carding, other things, working the system like you were talking about where you're playing, say, video poker like Bob Dancer and he's playing a negative EV game, but he's getting enough back in comps and what have you that it's turned into a positive EV. So,
even if it doesn't turn positive, if he can limit the amount of exposure that he has so that at some point when he does hit a jackpot, it turns positive.
Yeah, there you go. Right. To survive.
To survive, basically.
Yeah. So those are the things that I came up with. Anything else you can think of, Dr.
No,
Mike?
I was thinking right off the bat, I thought psychology of the gambling. Now, it's an economics class, so maybe you don't want to get into that, but really to understand the economics of it.
Even in a regular economics class, right?
The psychology, you got to understand the psychology.
It's like a social science, sure.
You've got to understand the psychology of the stock market.
Yeah, sure.
You can invest in the stock market, but if you don't understand the psychology of it, you're throwing money out there blindly.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Well, good luck, Brent. I don't think we're going to show up to teach, but those well drinks definitely are tempting.
Yeah. Now, where's he at again?
From Georgia.
Georgia. So it could be Atlanta.
Yeah, it could be.
And I do like the city of Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Coca-Cola's there.
We're just not going to go teach that class, all right? I don't know why you
I want
keep
to.
bringing it up. Yes, all right. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is the caller who called like 4 times last week. Once about the craps question and twice about video blackjack versus video poker free play. Just had a quick trip report from Jack. They stagger the free play, $75 through the week, $100 on Friday, and then another $75 on Saturday and Sunday, totaling $500 for the rest of the month. And I found an 8-5 Jacks or Better quarter machine, which I believe was a mistake because there's only 3 machines in the whole place that have that pay table that aren't dollar machines. And I know you said video blackjack was the better odds by 1%, but the gambler deep inside of me wanted to play video poker because there is a chance of a royal. So I went tonight at Jack and started with $75 free play and was hitting every Jacks or Better hand you could imagine except for a royal. I got flushes, I got straight flushes, I got 2 4 of a kind, a few full houses. Before I knew it, I was up $150. So I took that money to the free bet blackjack table because what better way to turn a small amount of money into a big amount of money with free bets. And had an ideal situation happen where I got a pair of 4s, and then the first 4, I got to resplit into another pair of 4, so I had 3 hands total. It was a $15 minimum, and the dealer ended up busting. So I won all 3 hands, took it over to the craps table, which I have been well informed now thanks to you, and turned my little bit of money into about $200. So it was a pretty good trip report altogether. I'm sure I'm coming up on 3 minutes because I'm just rambling, but just wanted to let you know the gambler inside of me says video poker was the better option. Oh, and
maybe.
P.S., I won my first fire bet ever. Granted, it was $1 and only 4 points were hit, but I was excited nonetheless, and I am currently up in the fire bet category. And I was also listening to older episodes, and one of the ones in the 60s, a caller had called and said that he had a tradition in Vegas going and putting $100 on black on the roulette table, and asked if you had any similar bets that he could make to do that would be quick, one and done. And your answer ultimately was blackjack. And I was curious as to why not baccarat, since it has a higher 50-50 chance of winning, especially on like a commission-free table. Take care.
Yeah, this original caller said he had a tradition where he liked to just show up in Vegas, and the first thing was make just this huge bet to see if he could just be up right away.
Right.
And just like putting $100 on red or black. And looking back on it, we said blackjack. We really should have said baccarat as another.
Baccarat, no commission. I don't know if we were talking about it then.
We didn't, I don't think.
Because they didn't have that then.
Well, I think they did, but it just the problem with blackjack, though, and this is what it really comes down to, is if you
have to split.
If you want to play good basic strategy, you may have to put more of your money out there. Where if you're just playing baccarat, it's just player or banker. Even if it's a commission game, still okay. You put out $100, you get paid $95. You're still starting your trip well. So.
Although in a blackjack game, you don't have to double down.
Well, you don't.
And you don't have to split. No. I mean, sometimes it's way smarter to split, but you don't have to split.
You don't have to, but if you're not going to do that, then you are increasing the house edge.
Right.
So why not go to baccarat, which has a low house edge to begin with?
Not so much in doubling down.
Yeah, we should have mentioned baccarat as a possibility. So this caller actually also called back and wanted to know about hedging fire bets. We've talked about this before, but he was specifically talking about a situation where, let's say he had $2 on the fire bet. He's up on a 5th number, so that would pay $500. Should you maybe make a lay bet against whatever that number was?
No, not on
we were saying for a 5th number, no, real. If you play enough craps, you're going to be on that 5th number every once. It's just not worth it.
No.
And even if you're on a 6th number, that's up to you. If you want to hedge, just keep in mind though that if the fire bet comes up, you're going to win less.
Right.
Then if you hadn't hedged, yes, if you hedge, you'll get a little bit money back, but you're going to win for the 5 numbers already. We try to discourage hedging, but if you are going to hedge, well, being on the 6th number might be a once in a lifetime, so maybe that's the time to do it.
But I'll tell you what, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but when you're on the 6th number for the first time, you've never established a 6th number before. All of a sudden you have this 6th number.
Yeah.
Don't hedge it. Man, you want to win the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you hedge that the first? Now, so let's say, we've won a few times and you have a lot of money. You're up quite a bit. It's been a great roll. Yeah, you might hedge it because you've won 6
maybe.
before.
But then what? How much do you hedge it so that you're going to win the same amount no matter what happens?
Yeah.
I think that's too much.
Right.
Maybe hedge it for a little.
Bit.
I agree with you.
But definitely the first time, my advice would be anybody just win that big fire bet. You're going to feel so much better when you get 1,000 to 1.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Don't hedge.
Don't hedge.
Yeah. All right. So the summit is coming up. Actually, our next episode is going to post when we're in Las Vegas.
Right.
So we're going to have to record that a little bit early because I certainly don't want to be recording the night before we go and editing the show.
Editing it on the plane. And then you can post it when we're in Vegas.
I don't think so. So we'll record a little bit early for that next one. But anyway, we're going to the summit and we're going to be arriving on Thursday morning, October 12th. In the past, we've arrived on Thursday night.
Right.
This time we're actually coming Thursday morning. Now, my tradition has always been to go straight to bed when we get there. Do you think I'm going to do that this trip?
No, but you should.
Just go straight to
Just, Mike, I'm going to go take a nap.
We get there. I can't remember what time we get there, like 11 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
11.
That's it, Mike. Yeah, okay.
I'm exhausted.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
I was up all night editing the podcast. You know how long that takes.
It was terrible. Well, we're looking forward to that. So that's coming 2 weeks from.
I'm looking especially forward to Thursday.
Yeah, I know, because we
have nothing to do.
We have nothing going. We've never been there early before.
We'll be at, we'll probably be at the casino by noon.
Oh,
by
yes.
the time we land and get there and everything. And check in and putting our bags in the room is like a 20-second process for us.
That's right.
And so we'll do that.
Yep.
And then we'll be at the craps table by 1 at the latest.
Yeah, I would say so. And we're going to be on the Strip that whole day. I can't see us actually going downtown till Friday. So we're going to be on the Strip the whole time. We'll tweet. We'll let everybody know where we are. Right now, we're thinking about a craps meet up maybe Friday morning.
Early morning, yeah.
Yes, not like 6 a.m. early morning, but maybe 9 a.m., something like that.
Too late. That's too late.
All right, we'll let.
I get up at 4 every day. I think 6 is fine.
Follow us on Twitter. We are going to talk about. It's not going to be a formal meetup like we had last year, because last year Luxor reached out to us. Nobody's reached out to us this year, and so I don't want to try to coordinate something that would fall through. So it'll be just a meetup where Friday morning, maybe we're staying at Planet Hollywood, so maybe it'll just be at Planet Hollywood, but definitely follow us on Twitter. We'll let you know what's happening.
I don't, as you know, I don't tweet.
No, you don't.
You're the guy who handles all that. But I'm going to preemptively tweet you right now, and I'm going to say by 1:30 on Thursday, 1:30 p.m., we will be playing craps at Planet Hollywood.
At Planet Hollywood, 1:30 Thursday. All right. I think that's very possible.
Unless there's some situation with the plane.
With the plane or something like that. Okay.
But if it's not 1:30, it'll be 2. I'm sure we'll be.
All right. For right now, this is the unofficial meetup between 1:30 and 2. Planet Hollywood, Thursday, October 12th, pre the summit. And then we'll probably have something Friday morning, probably also on the Strip. Yeah. And then, of course, we're going to be downtown, by 3 o'clock at the Golden Gate and, take place in all the festivities.
To give people like an incentive to come, you ought to do something special at that first little crap session.
Like what?
Well, like $1 on all the hardways every shooter.
I should do that?
Yeah, you should do that.
Oh, that's
it's something they'll never see. This is a one-in-a-lifetime chance to see Mark bet a hardway.
Oh, well, all right, maybe I'll do that. But you like being the big man at the table. That sounds more like something you'd do.
Well, I bet him every time. You need to do it. Something unusual. What would be unusual for me at a craps table?
All right, so all you're saying is you want me to, in front of other people, make a hardway bet?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
You don't want me to make the hardway bet for them?
It's like seeing an eclipse. See, it's like one in a lifetime.
I thought you wanted me to make a hardway bet for everybody who shows up.
Oh, well, that's an idea.
That's a better idea.
That's a better idea. Maybe everyone who's there right when we first get there, you make a hardway. Although $4.
Something's going to happen, people. Yeah. All right, meet us there. Again, Twitter's the best way to follow us. And even if you're not on Twitter, even if you hate social media, you can still access our tweets by just going to twitter.com/youcanbet on that.
Yeah, and if you don't do it, anyone who says, "Hey, there's Mark and Dr. Mike," I'll do it. I'll bet them on hardway.
All right, good. Yeah. Yes. All right, good. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. So we want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, Brian and Sarah, thank you very much for the recurring donation. I wonder if they're going to be at the summit. They were at VIMP last year, so hopefully we'll get to see them.
Yep.
Also,
we'll eat with them again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Also from Boz, he says, love the show. Karma donation for an upcoming trip for NFL Week 3, which has already gone past, so hopefully it went well for him. Yes. Good luck to both of you. Hope to meet you at the tables one day. From your pal Boz in Canada. Also, a PayPal donation from Sherry. Thanks for the great podcast. I'm off to Las Vegas. I wanted to send a token of my appreciation. Mark, keep playing the smart way, and Dr. Mike, keep parlaying those hard sixes. Yes. There you go.
Yes. Oh, I love the hard six.
I know. Do you like the hard six more than the hard 8?
I waver on that. I mean, initially when I go to a casino, I love the hard 8. I'm always on the hard 8. But boy, the 6s have been hitting lately.
We're repeating ourselves. Yeah. I'm sure we've had this conversation on the show before.
I'm sure.
Also, our good buddy Ed that we met in Atlantic City, he sent us a PayPal donation for our 5th anniversary. Here's some cash that I will not be spending on the NFL. Thanks for making my commute bearable twice a month. We're in a 33 pool that Ed has put together.
Yeah,
so
last week two teams
scored 33 points. Yeah,
which is a little unusual, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too.
But maybe I was thinking about this when the second one hit. Maybe this year not so unusual because of there's more situations with a kicking game.
It's different, the 2-point conversion, right, compared to when in the olden days. I don't know.
Rules changed.
Yeah, sure. That could affect it too. And finally, from our buddy Dr. Taylor, he says, hoping for Tara's first Royal this weekend. We'll also see you at Harrah's Southern California first weekend of November.
Oh, sweet.
Isn't
now,
that
are
nice?
we going to be there?
Oh my God, it's the Breeders' Cup.
It's the Breeders' Cup.
Mike, all right. The Breeders' Cup, it probably ends like, 6 or 7 o'clock on that Friday. What are we going to do? Go straight home?
No, we can't go home.
No, of course not.
What would our wives think?
That's crazy. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you there, Taylor. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting feedback. What do you say, Dr. Mike? What do you say?
I say that I cannot wait. It's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
Basically.
Yeah.
From, not
when
quite.
we post
when
this.
We wake up in the morning.
When this episode posts, it'll be 2 weeks.
Yeah. And when we wake up in the morning, it'll be 2 weeks. And that's all I'm going to think about tomorrow.
Yeah, good.
All I'm going to think about is like, oh, God, we got to get through 2 weeks. God, it's only Thursday.
Great. Now it's depressing. It's like it's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
Oh, my God. Maybe we can go to the casino before then.
Yeah, hopefully.
I know you said we were going to take it easy up until that point.
That's so stupid to even say that.
I don't even know why you brought it up. It's so stupid.
We say that to like make ourselves feel good, but it's not happening.
No.
And the funny thing is, our wives know. My wife said, "Oh, I know you're going. I know you're going."
Yeah.
So,
it's not like
It's we're kidding nobody but ourselves.
That's right.
And even us, we're not kidding.
No. Now I don't know if you said, hey, we're living the dream.
Yeah.
Shortly after there, we went out to the casino and got slaughtered. So I don't know if we're really living the dream, but
it's still a dream.
It's still a dream. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
Most of the time, it's a dream. The rest of our lives are a dream.
I guess so. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.